So the four passages that we were invited to read today seem to make a progression from the prediction of Christ's death to his actual death and then resurrection. The pieces that speak to me at the end of this cohort, I think would go this way. Both Luke and Mark record Jesus instructing his disciples to follow him, even after he's described that there'll be great suffering. And true to course, the disciples, at least Peter, certainly didn't get it. I was struck by the fact that first Peter rebukes Jesus, then Jesus rebukes Peter, actually calling him Satan in the Mark passage, and accuses Peter of being focused on human concerns, not concerns of God. And how do we figure out what are God's concerns and what are human concerns on a daily basis? I just find that incredibly challenging, but that's what we're called into. And I think that's what this cohort, I should also mention that I was struck in the Luke 9 passage that Jesus says we must daily take up our cross and follow him. And I don't think I'd noticed that word daily. Obviously it has to be a daily thing, but I didn't see it as that clear until reading the passage this morning. And then I was struck by the word save, that it was first the people, then the soldiers, and then one of the criminals who all kind of made fun of Jesus on the cross, saying, "Save yourself, you say you can save others," and clearly missing the point of Christ's self-sacrificial death, as he then says, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And how often we just don't get it, what's going on, what we think saving should look like, when in fact Jesus was saving by giving up himself. And then the Matthew passage, Matthew 28, I'm always struck by, the fact that it's women that Jesus first presented himself to in all of the gospel accounts, Mary Magdalene in particular. But this time I was struck by how the angel sort of presented himself with an earthquake coming down from heaven and then sitting down on a rock, and how he tells the women, not to be afraid, and gives them this significant assignment that they're supposed to go tell the other disciples that Jesus is alive. And of course, repeatedly we see this "don't be afraid" kind of message. I love that the women were both afraid yet filled with joy. And I think about going forward from this cohort, and some of the things that I sense God leading me to do in the context of my denomination. It feels silly. Why in the world would I think that God could use me to speak truth to power? And then, I read about these women, these unlikely evangelists, who are the ones who carry the message of Christ's resurrection, his victory over death. So I guess it's nothing new, but it strikes me that why shouldn't I believe that God could work through even me, when God has consistently chosen to work through the most unlikely. So that's where I think I'll leave it as a word for me, as I reflect on these passages today. Thanks for listening.